Story 1. Imagine scrolling through your phone's gallery and stumbling on a photo of yourself asleep in bed, snapped by someone who stood over you in the dead of night while you were completely oblivious. I'd always prided myself on my independent life in a modest bungalow I purchased a couple of years back in a quiet suburb of Oregon. My days blurred into a monotonous rhythm: remote work from my home office, online grocery deliveries, and late-night workouts at the nearly deserted fitness center. Social interactions were minimal. Neighbors were mere faces in passing, their lives as opaque as mine. It was this predictability that delayed my awareness of the intrusion, a creeping dread that unfolded over a chilling week last winter. It began innocuously one Tuesday night around 2:30 a.m. Dozing on the sectional with the television murmuring softly, a muffled thud echoed from the rear of the house. Groggy, I attributed it to a settling foundation or a dislodged item in the laundry room. Common nocturnal quirks in older homes. Muting the screen, I listened intently. Silence reigned. A quick inspection confirmed the back entrance secure, so I shuffled to bed, dismissing it. Come morning, unlocking the back door revealed a subtle anomaly. The knob wobbled unnaturally, as if strained. I jotted a reminder to tighten it, brushing off the oddity. That evening, post-gym around midnight, arriving home, I noticed the exterior light extinguished, contrary to my habit of leaving it illuminated for safety. Pausing in the driveway, engine idling, I racked my brain. Had I forgotten? Convincing myself, yes, I entered, methodically scanning rooms in a newfound ritual, unease simmering beneath the surface. Thursday dawned with my smartphone at a mere 12% charge, despite vivid recall of connecting it bedside. The cord dangled from the device, but the adapter lay unplugged from the wall. Rationalizations flooded. Perhaps I'd disturbed it sleepwalking, though I never did. Internally, a whisper of doubt grew. Something felt orchestrated, violating my personal space. Heightened vigilance ensued. That night, I extinguished lights early, perching in darkness, ears attuned to the house's symphony. Around 3 a.m., deliberate creaks emanated from the rear, measured like cautious treads. Breath held, I debated. Animal? Neighbor? The sounds ceased abruptly, allowing self-deception. They originated externally in the nocturnal suburbia. Dawn revealed smudged boot imprints near the back threshold, partially erased as if hastily concealed. Panic gripped me. No visitors, no muddy excursions of my own. Closer scrutiny unveiled faint gouges around the lock, suggestive of tampering with a slim tool. Summoning a locksmith under the guise of mechanical failure, I omitted the prints, fearing ridicule. He installed a robust new mechanism that afternoon, assuring reliability. Yet sleep evaded. I barricaded the door with a heavy stool and secured my bedroom, knife within reach. A far cry from my former nonchalance. Pre-dawn, delicate raps assailed the bedroom door, featherlight, exploratory. Frozen, pulse thundering, I stared, unblinking as they tapered off, followed by retreating footfalls. Morning inspection, stool intact, but the door unlatched from within. No damage, just disengaged. Terror crystallized. This was no figment, no fatigue-induced hallucination. An intruder had navigated my home undetected, manipulating locks with ease. Police arrived, scouring premises and yard, noting absence of break-in evidence. Ironic, given the recent upgrade. Their suggestion of somnambulism stung. I knew better, but proof eluded. That night, fortified with illumination and a blade, dread coiled tight. Around 2 a.m., noises stirred from the cellar, subtle shifts. The basement access, ajar in the hallway, beckoned ominously. Approaching warily, peering through the gap, a humanoid contour loomed at the stair's base, immobile, perhaps ascending. Horror propelled me. Slamming shut, I fled to my vehicle, dialing emergency services anew. Officers entered. I huddled in their cruiser, shivering despite the heater. Moments later, they emerged with a disheveled man in custody, barefoot, clad in rumpled blacks, expression vacant. He avoided my gaze, loaded into the squad car. Subsequent revelations chilled deeper: wrappers, water containers, and a charger nestled behind the boiler. Makeshift bedding from discarded materials. He'd inhabited my basement undetected, syncing with my absences. Interrogated on routines, I divulged gym schedules. The intruder remained mute. Charges loomed: trespassing, burglary. Re-entering felt profane, every crevice suspect. Days later, scrolling photos, a horrifying image surfaced. Me, asleep in bed, time-stamped 3:11 a.m. The unplugged phone night. Taken from within my room, it amplified the violation, evoking nausea and rage. Submitting it bolstered the case. Stalking enhancements, potential offender registry. Yet scars endure. Basements evoke paralysis. Locks demand triple checks. Solitude now a foe. That week shattered my complacency, revealing vulnerability's stark truth. Home, once refuge, can harbor unseen horrors. Story 2. The chill of that winter night still haunts my dreams. A shadowy figure lurking just beyond the firelight, turning a peaceful escape into a nightmare I barely survived. Last December, I decided to escape the chaos of city life for a solo camping trip with my faithful dog, Max. I'd taken some time off from my job and craved solitude, far from the noise of crowds and obligations. I packed my SUV with essentials, tent, sleeping gear, food, and headed toward a remote national park in the mountains of Colorado. The drive took me along a winding, poorly paved path, blanketed in fresh snow, slick with hidden ice patches that made my tires skid occasionally. No other vehicles crossed my way. It felt like the world had forgotten this corner of the wilderness. After nearly an hour of careful navigation, I pulled into an overgrown turnout that seemed abandoned for seasons, overgrown with frozen underbrush. Shouldering my heavy backpack, I trudged another half hour through knee-deep drifts, Max bounding ahead, his paws leaving joyful imprints in the pristine white. We arrived at a secluded glade encircled by towering evergreens, their branches heavy with snow, creating a natural fortress. The air was crisp, biting at my cheeks, and the silence was profound. No echoes of civilization, just the faint whisper of wind through needles. This isolation was exactly what I'd sought, a chance to recharge my soul amid nature's raw embrace. I dropped my pack and began setting up camp, shoveling snow aside with a collapsible tool to reveal the frozen earth below. Max explored nearby, his nose buried in drifts, tail wagging furiously as he chased imaginary scents. His playful energy brought a smile to my face, easing the fatigue from the hike. I erected the tent meticulously, driving stakes deep into the icy ground to withstand any gusts. Inside, I unrolled my insulated mat and 0-degree sleeping bag, knowing the temperatures would plummet. Layers were key: merino wool base, fleece mid-layer, and a down parka that I kept on, feeling the cold already seeping through. With camp secured, I scavenged fallen branches for firewood, piling them into a ring of stones I'd fashioned. Igniting the kindling, I watched flames dance to life, casting flickering shadows that warmed my hands and face. Dinner was basic, rehydrated stew heated over the coals, but satisfying in the crisp air. I perched on a fallen trunk, savoring each bite, while Max lounged nearby, his fur glowing orange in the fire's glow. The forest enveloped us in a hush so deep it felt like the snow muffled every potential sound. A lesson from my grandfather about winter's acoustic tricks echoing in my mind. Internally, a sense of peace washed over me, the stresses of daily life melting away like snow in the heat. but tranquility shattered when Max bolted upright, barking sharply at the encroaching darkness. At first I dismissed it. Rabbits or elk often stirred his instincts. "Easy, boy," I murmured, stroking his head until he settled. Yet unease lingered, a subtle prickling at the back of my neck. I lingered by the fire, checking my watch, the handgun on my belt a familiar weight, a precaution for remote adventures. 20 minutes passed in relative calm before Max erupted again, his growls low and menacing. Then I heard it, crunching steps in the snow, deliberate and approaching. Rising slowly, heart rate quickening, I strained my ears. The footsteps paused, then resumed, drawing nearer. Max fell silent, rigid, fixated on the tree line. Adrenaline surged through me, sharpening my senses. There, silhouetted against the dim firelight, stood a human form, partially obscured by branches. "You startled me," I called out, trying to keep my voice steady, reassuring Max it was fine. The figure hesitated, then advanced slightly. A tall man, his features gaunt in the shadows. "What brings you out here in the middle of nowhere?" he asked, his voice gravelly, laced with an edge that set my nerves on fire. I replied evenly that I was simply enjoying the outdoors with my companion. Silence stretched, heavy and oppressive, as he stared, unblinking. My mind raced. Was he lost or something more sinister? Politely but firmly, I mentioned I was prepared to defend myself. He chuckled darkly, questioning my lack of warmth, suggesting I should offer him a spot by the fire. Then, without another word, he retreated into the night, his retreating steps fading into oblivion. I remained vigilant, eyes scanning the gloom. Max pressed against my leg, his warmth a small comfort. Doubt gnawed at me. Had I overreacted? Eventually, I doused the flames with snow, extinguishing every ember to avoid beacons in the dark. Crawling into the tent, I zipped it tight, arranging my gear for maximum insulation. Clad in all my layers, hat pulled low, I activated chemical warmers, placing one at my chest and another at my toes. Max snuggled close, his breathing a rhythmic anchor in the void. But sleep evaded me. The forest's silence amplified every imagined creak. Then Max growled anew, hackles raised. Footsteps returned, closer, methodical. They halted outside the tent fabric, mere inches away. Max's howls pierced the night. I hushed him desperately, fear clutching my throat. Subtle shifts, weight transferring on snow, betrayed the intruder's presence. Gripping my pistol, hand trembling, I wrestled with inner turmoil. I'd trained for defense but dreaded the act of violence, the irreversible pull of a trigger. "I've got a weapon," I declared loudly, chambering around for emphasis. "Leave now." Agonizing seconds ticked by before the steps receded, accelerating into distance. I didn't dare peek. Paralysis held me until dawn's gray light filtered through. Packing hastily, heart pounding, we fled back to the vehicle, the drive home a blur of relief and lingering terror. That encounter etched a permanent caution in me. Nature's beauty hides human shadows, and true solitude can invite unseen dangers. I've sworn off those remote spots, cherishing safety over seclusion. Story 3. In the heart of a bustling historic city, a spectral figure in impeccable formal attire pursued us through crowded streets, his unnatural gait defying logic and igniting a primal fear that lingers to this day. It was the Independence Day weekend in 2025 when I embarked on a road trip from Tampa, Florida to Savannah, Georgia, to reconnect with my old college buddy Alex. He'd landed a summer clerkship in a legal firm there and was renting a cozy townhouse in the downtown district. Eager for some quality time, I planned to crash on his living room sofa, which overlooked a neighboring complex and a maze of narrow back streets dotted with derelict buildings. The journey was uneventful, smooth highways giving way to charming coastal views. Upon arrival, we dove into a game of tennis at a local park, laughing off rusty skills as the sun dipped low. Evening found me settling onto the sofa, the windows framing the dimly lit alleys outside, where shadows played tricks under street lamps. The next morning, refreshed, we hit the courts again before venturing to the vibrant Savannah riverfront market. Strolling amid vendors and tourists, the salty breeze from the nearby harbor invigorated us. That's when we spotted him, a man clad in a pristine tuxedo, complete with a silk tie and polished Oxfords, shuffling along the waterfront promenade. His dark, wavy locks framed a sun-kissed face, and despite the summer heat, his outfit appeared immaculate, as if tailored moments ago. The market's cacophony, hawkers shouting, laughter echoing, contrasted sharply with his isolated trance-like progression. He seemed oblivious to the world, lost in some internal void. If we'd crossed the road, our paths would have collided. A chill ran down my spine. Instinct screamed avoidance. I tugged Alex's sleeve, insisting we detour right, accelerating our steps into the urban sprawl. His sluggish pace allowed us to pull ahead easily. "That guy's off," I whispered, noting how his attire screamed affluence, not vagrancy. Alex nodded, his usual skepticism tinged with unease. We pressed on, weaving through cobblestone lanes, but blocks later, on a parallel avenue teeming with shoppers, there he was again, diagonally across, maintaining that eerie, deliberate shuffle. How had he overtaken us? No shortcuts explained it. We'd have noticed. We froze, exchanging wide-eyed glances, logic fracturing under the impossibility. Dismissing it as coincidence, we continued our explorations, immersing in Savannah's antebellum charm. July 4th brought fireworks over a nearby barrier island, a dazzling display that temporarily erased the oddity. We chalked him up to an eccentric local, yet a nagging disquiet persisted, like a discordant note in a symphony. Our final evening included a pre-booked haunted history walk, fitting the city's ghostly lore. The streets pulsed with Saturday night energy, revelers spilling from bars, neon signs casting kaleidoscopic glows. Post-tour, navigating the throng, a surge of pedestrians approached. Amid the flow, we both locked eyes on him simultaneously, the tuxedoed enigma embedded in the crowd's center, his shambling unchanged, a stark anomaly amid hurried strides. He parted the masses effortlessly, brushing past without acknowledgement, as if invisible. For a fleeting instant, his gaze met ours, empty, probing, before he continued. The crowd swallowed him, but as it dispersed, we tracked his retreat into a shadowy alley, his form vanishing around a bend. Silence enveloped us. No words could capture the surreal violation of reality. Internally, my mind whirled with questions: apparition or flesh? Alex, ever the rationalist, mirrored my perturbation, his composure cracking. Back at the townhouse, Alex retreated upstairs while I attempted sleep downstairs. Rest eluded me, the day's events replaying in loops. A midnight rap on the window jolted me awake, sharp, insistent. Heart hammering, I peeked through the blinds into the alley. At its terminus, a silhouette pivoted, tuxedo unmistakable, glancing back with unnerving directness before slipping away. Morning light brought confession to Alex. Even his logic faltered, admitting the profound weirdness. I'm more attuned to the ethereal, and this encounter burrowed deep, evoking vulnerability in the mundane. Months on, it haunts our conversations. Departing for Florida on July 6th, that final glimpse etched an indelible mark. Reality's veil thinner than we imagine, harboring enigmas that defy explanation.